without dissent, I think. So we come now to item number 11 on the agenda, the process for making external member appointments to the Audit and Risk Committee. And obviously this also is an item under our confidential agenda under C3 on the basis that appointments need to be confidential to protect the privacy of individuals until such time as we confirm those appointments. But the paper is an important paper, and I've got Phil Wilson at the end of the table to speak to that. I think can I ask Councillor Shane Henderson to move the recommendations, and perhaps Deputy Mayor Cashmore to second it. And Phil, I'll just invite you to make some comments, acknowledging that we will be having a fuller discussion of this under C3.
Thanks, Your Worship. As you say, this is a simple process report. I would welcome the substantial discussion being at the later item, and I think between yourself and Sue Sheldon earlier, you've really done my homework in terms of setting the scene for the appointments required to be made to the committee.
Thank you very much. So I'll just check if there are any questions at this point. Any comments from members at this point? If not, I will put the recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
To the contrary, no. I declare that carried. Equally, item number 12 that we now come to is the Auckland Large-Scale Project Areas Housing Acceleration Fund Memorandum of Understanding, which is a big handle for that. I'm going to move that and ask for a seconder for the item. Deputy Mayor, the reason for confidentiality of this item is because it is a memorandum of understanding between the Cabinet and ourselves. We cannot discuss in detail the nature of that memorandum until we know it's been approved from both sides. Suffice to say that the government has given us $1.7 billion for the Auckland housing program, to which we're also contributing, I think, something around 770 million, looking at the Deputy Mayor to confirm. And this memorandum of understanding is simply a way of establishing the framework around how we're going to spend that money. But what we're talking about here is $2.4 billion or more that will go into providing development in areas such as Mount Roskill, Mangere, Oranga, Tamaki, ensuring that we do have affordable housing, that we do have sufficient housing in our city to cope with the shortage. We are making huge inroads into that housing shortage with the rate at which we are building, but we want to make sure that we have the infrastructure in these vital areas to make sure that they can progress as needed, and in particular we can provide for sections of the market that couldn't provide their own housing other than through provision of affordable and social housing. Can I ask you, Megan, if you'd like to comment on this, and then we'll take questions.
Thank you, Mayor Goff. No, again, this is just a preliminary open report. The matter will be discussed in confidential. The Mayor has always done a far better introduction than I will ever be able to do. So I'll leave it for questions or comments, and we can discuss further in the confidential agenda. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Megan. Are there any questions? Deputy Mayor Cashmore.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Megan. Could you just confirm or not that this is really a formalisation of existing processes, that how we work with the Crown and to try and deliver these essential housing areas?
Through the Chair, yes, absolutely. There's nothing new here. We are already working with them, and this is a formalisation of it.
Yep. So it's as you've said, Megan. It's there's nothing new that councillors aren't already aware of on it. It's simply a confirmation of the agreements that we've reached, and a way of bedding them in so they actually happen. If there are no other questions, are there any comments?
Just briefly, I think once we get into the item, we'll find it's a bit more complex than all of that. There are liabilities, there's requirements of council in a memorandum of understanding like this. It's not just an unconditional handout of capital. There is a layer of complexity in this which we'll hopefully unpack when we get to the item, but it is not just a gift.
Nothing is ever free in life. That is absolutely true. Both council and government have made a commitment, but there is room in the agreement, without getting into the confidential side of it, that this is reviewed according to circumstances. But I think it's really important that that commitment is part of a framework. Just making sure I've still got sound there. A framework to make sure that this occurs. Okay. Are we any other comments that anybody wants to make? If not, I shall put the recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
To the contrary, no.